Continue. Flesh that out.
Well, then, the idea of having a world population reduction, in other words, genocide, built into the U.S. foreign policy is this Global 2000, Global Futures. And then what do? They turn around and implement that by supporting Pol Pot, who goes very far, right? He's the champion in terms of proportional genocide. I think he manages to kill 30 to 40% of the Cambodian population. And Khomeini, who aborts the entire industrialization process of Iran. What they're trying to show is that third world populations can be organized against themselves to destroy themselves. And ultimately, that's what Obama is. A fascist mass movement is the organization of a population against itself to destroy itself in the service of these financiers.
Let's go to Elliot in Ohio. You're on the air.
So I researched this maybe 2 days ago. Have you heard of the First 13th Amendment?
No, I'm afraid I haven't. Go ahead.
I was on Jordan Maxwell's site, and then I went to one of his links. And, yeah, in 1983, these two guys, research expert David Dodge and former Baltimore police investigator Tom Dunn, they were in the Belfast Library on the coast of Maine. They found a constitution from 1825, and there was actually there's a missing 13th Amendment in our Constitution. It was ratified in 1819, has not been repealed, and it's
there were more than 30 original broadsheets made, and quite a few of them are still around. I've heard of. Well, go ahead.
Well, I mean, like it's titles of nobility and honor. It says, if any citizen of the United States shall accept, claim, receive, or retain any title of nobility or honor, or shall, without consent of Congress, accept and retain any present pension, office, or emolument.
Yeah, speak of the devil, John, I sent you that clip from C-SPAN of former Secretary of State Colin Powell telling the reporter that he's a Knight Commander, Order of the Bath. Will you cue that up, please?
I sure will.
Thank you. Go ahead, Elliot.
Yeah, retain any present pension, office, or emolument of any kind, whatever, from any emperor, king, prince, or foreign power. Such person shall cease to be a citizen of the United States.
Yeah, so it's saying you can't be a foreign agent, basically, which makes sense. And I have read.
If I may, I have a certain. Now I know what you're talking about, and it does exist. And I wrote about this in 1996 in Executive Intelligence Review. You might find it on the internet. It's an article that says U.S. Constitution bars Powell from the presidency because he had become this British nobleman.
Yeah, we do know of it.
The U.S. Constitution right now says you cannot hold an office of profit and trust under the United States. In other words, you can't be in the executive branch or the Supreme Court if you accept the title of nobility.
And that plays into the Logan Act as in the code blocking that.
But this one goes further. It says if you accept such a title of nobility, you cease to be a citizen.
Yes, it's currently in there. That's what I had
was ready to attack Sir Rudy Giuliani would have been coming under attack from me on this if he had gotten the Republican.
Yes, Elliot, that is legitimate. You refresh our memory. Thank you. And speaking of Powell and the nobility, here is the audio clip right now.
Knight Commander of the Order of the Bath. Pardon me? Knight Commander of the Order of the Bath. Very honored. Her Majesty gave it to Alman to me about 12 years ago. Knight Commander. Okay. Listen carefully. Knight Commander of the Order of the Bath. Same thing.
We have the video clip up on Infowars.com. We put it up there when Queen Elizabeth II was here in town last year surveying her lands. They had a White House function. They were announcing who they were, and much of the administration coming in were being announced by their British titles, right. and giving fealty to the Queenie. So I hope that answers your question, Elliot. Let's go to Cliff in Virginia. Cliff, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, Cliff, go ahead.
Yeah, how you doing today? Enjoying your show, by the way, also. My question is this there, Mr. Tarpley, is I read a report several months ago here where China sent word to Illuminati operatives that if they tried to indeed, make any type of move toward China, and it's, shall I say, their friends, which would be Russia and Iran via their friendship pacts they have and old obligation deals, what would be the next move for the Illuminati now that Bush more or less has gotten punched in the mouth by Putin over this Georgia fiasco? and the fact that China said plainly stated that any aggression made toward China and the people running the Illuminati would be assassinated.
Yeah, I mean, there's two questions there. What do you think of Benjamin Fulford, the former Forbes writer who meets with Rockefeller on video and says he's been told by the Asian elite, the mafia, that they know about the population reduction plan and the bioweapon attack plan that Cheney talks about in the PNAC documents, September 2000, Rebuilding America's Defenses. So, I mean, A, what do you think of that? And then B, again, kind of a recap of why does this, what does this do now that this didn't go well in Georgia?
Let me do it the other way. I don't use this concept of Illuminati because I think this is just pure confusion. The notion that a society founded in Bavaria runs the world, in my view, is just absurd. What you're dealing with is the City of London, British, and Wall Street, the U.S. That's the operative unit. And these terms like New World Order and Illuminati, I think they contribute to confusion rather than
even though all
clarity.
These presidents use them and hail it and swear sovereignty.
Yeah, look, the origin of this Illuminati, though, is British intelligence.
I know.
They're here to say,
to overthrow the
we're
French.
not the main enemy in the world. Those Bavarians are the main enemy. This is just crazy.
All right, let me break this down for you, Webster. There is an element to all of this. The elites are obsessed with the occult. The British system, let me finish, please, is Masonic, and they really are into this, and they really do govern a lot of what they do according to it. And
sure, but now you're talking the Scottish Rite Freemasons of London and, God knows other institutions that they have, the Club of the Isles and all sorts of other things. But again, this Bavarian thing, this is the crazy part. This is what the British themselves put out to say.
Well, that was just one agent. That was Weishaupt and the guy getting struck by lightning. Thank you so much.
Wait, let's do the Fulford part. There is a history of secret societies in China. For example, Dr. Sun Yat-sen, when he wanted to do the Chinese Revolution of 1911, turned to something called the Red Door Society, the Hung Man or Hung Men Society. However, I think this stuff now you have to look at this with tremendous skepticism, and here's why. Suppose we have the Turkmen Islamic Party setting off some stunt in Beijing now for the Olympics. If that's terrorism, either Mexico City 68 or Munich 72 style, you're going to have a wave of international sympathy with China. Suppose now the Anglo-Americans have come up with a dialectical or two-phase false flag.
Hold on. We're going to do 3 minutes behind the scenes exclusively at the Infowars.com streams and PrisonPlanet.tv. Stay with us. Okay, you got 3 minutes, Webster. Go over this, then we're going to come back and finish up with Jeff and DJ and Matt. Go ahead.
If you get the U.S. and the British using this Turkmenistan, the Turkmenistan Islamic Party, and Commander Saifullah that we've seen, pulling a stunt in Beijing with wet work, with the bodies, then you're going to get international sympathy with China. Now, suppose in a second phase of a false flag, to magnify the world effect, it's like going from 9/11 to anthrax, which is something, 9/11 is for people in big cities only, high-rises, but anthrax is for anybody who gets the mail every day. In other words, everybody in the world practically. You can imagine a second phase. Now, suppose the U.S. and the British strike in Beijing, and then they say the Chinese secret societies have given a press conference, and they come forward and say, that's it, we've had it, you Anglo-Americans, we've had it up to here, we're striking back, we're going to bring down the Internet, we're going to destroy world financial transactions, we're going to paralyze the world through the Internet with logic bombs, denial of service, cyber warfare, and so forth. This would then begin to turn world hatred and resentment against China in a very, very strong way. So